Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make some cards that are predominantly made with dies. So I'm going to be making something along these lines here that you see here. I've used an embossing folder for this white piece of card in the background. I've used the frames from the Stitched So Sweetly dies, and I've used the largest and the third largest to make the frame. And then I'm going to be using dies from this Pierced Blooms die set. Now this die set can be found on page 165 of our new annual catalogue, which launched in May. And there is a stamp set that goes with it, which is called In Bloom, and that's available on page 30. So to save some time, basically what I've done, I chose some cardstock in our new 2021 to 2023 in colours, which are the Pale Papaya, Polish Pink, Evening Evergreen, Soft Succulent and Fresh Freesia. And I just cut a quarter sheet of A4 card in each of those colours. I also used some Night of Navy, and I chose some of the die shapes from this set, and I cut a bunch. I'll show you what I've got here. I cut a bunch of the flowers and the leaves, and I ended up with a big stack of these on my desk. And this is the first one I came up with. So basically I'll just zoom in and I'll just talk you through this, and then I'm going to assemble one, and then I'll assemble the rest of them and I'll show you them all at the end. So I've got a white base card. I've got a piece of basic white which I've run through an embossing folder, which is the Tasteful Textile. It's lovely. It's nice and subtle, but you can see the embossed background. All the products will be listed in the blog post and under the YouTube video with direct links to purchase them from my online shop. Then as I say, I made a frame using the two sizes that I've just shown you, and then I've assembled them. But what I did on the background of the embossing folder, I took one of my blending brushes, which Stampin' Up now sell, and I used some of the Pale Papaya ink, and I just swirled it onto the card, and it picks up on all the raised elements of the card, just to kind of tie it in with the Pale Papaya flowers. But I'm not sure whether I like the colour in the background. I kind of like clean and simple designs. So I think for my next one, I'm not going to apply the colour and just see how it looks. And then also in the die set is this bow. So I cut the bow. I've used one of the In Colour gems and a little bit of the gold from the ephemera kit, which I've shown in a previous video. And that's my card. So what I'm going to do now, I've got a piece of thick basic white cardstock, which is A4, which I've cut down the middle on the short side. Then I've scored and folded it, burnished it with my bone folder, and that's my base card. I've got a piece of basic white again, which I've run through the Tasteful Textile embossing folder, and this now needs to be cut down to layer up on the front of my card. So I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and everything that you see me using will be listed, as I say, underneath the blog post with direct links to my shop, and they'll also be listed under the YouTube video. So this needs to be cut at 5 5/8 by 3 7/8. And if you've not seen our paper trimmer before, it has a scoring blade and a cutting blade. So you can also use this to score your cards. So I'm just moving that one out of the way so it doesn't cut. Lining this now up at 3 7/8, and I'm just going to cut. So that's now my layer for this card. And on the one I've just shown you, this is where I just applied the colour to tie in with the flowers. But for this one, I'm going to leave it. So I'm going to bring in some of the elements that I've already cut. And this time I'm using the Fresh Freesia and the So Succulent. So all these die cuts that you see here, apart from this little piece of gold, which is from the ephemera pack, everything else is from this die set. So you get 25 dies in here. There's even like a fancy label, you know, that you can use to stamp a greeting on. You've got the bow, you've got all the flowers, the leaves, everything in here, all the little mini centres. So the other thing that I've used, and I'm not sure how well you're going to see it, I'll just try and give you a bit of a close-up of this. But this is rose gold, and this is from a new speciality paper pack, which is rose gold and gold. And it's called Metallic Speciality Paper. And I have to say, it's flat, it's not gritty, it's very sparkly, and it's actually quite thick. And when I put these through my die cutting machine, I had to run it through a couple of times to get it to cut cleanly all the way through. But as I say, everything will be listed. So here's my frame that I've already made using the biggest and then the third size down from the stitched So Sweetly dies. Obviously, there are shapes like this in your ScanNCut, so if you don't have these dies, you can just make yourself a frame. I'm going to layer this up. Rather than centre it, I'm going to kind of put it bottom left, and I'm going to raise it up. So the first thing I'm going to do with this is put some of our dimensionals on the back. And I'm going to be using a combination of our dimensionals and our wet glue for these cards. So I'm just going to peel all the backings off here. And as I say, this one I'm not going to apply the colour to, and I'm going to see which one I prefer. So I'm going to position this down near the bottom left, something like that, kind of off centre. And then I'm going to bring in my die cuts and start to layer them up and see how they're going to look. I'm thinking I want the leaf to be kind of coming out into the middle. So I'm going to get some of my Tombow multi-purpose adhesive, and I'm just going to apply a little bit of glue on there and tuck that in so it kind of pops out into the frame. And then I'm going to start to layer up my flowers. So I'm going to apply, basically what I've done with these, I've just kind of bent the petals with my finger like that, just so they curl up a little bit, but they'll probably get flattened in the post. But you know, that's kind of what I've done so far. I'm going to pop that one into the middle, and then I'm going to do the same with this one. I literally, as I say, I just cut lots and lots and lots of the shapes, and you know, just got this big pile that you can probably see still here on the corner of my desk, and I'm literally just going to make the cards up as I go along. So this one I think is going to sit on the bottom like this. So I'm going to apply a dimensional on the back of here, and I'm going to make this sit kind of on top of the leaf, not on the frame, something like this. And then this one I'm thinking I'll sit on the frame, so I'm just going to stick that flat with glue. So that's going to sit like that, actually on the frame. Then I've got this one that I can also bring in and tuck in somewhere if I want, but I'm not sure about that yet. I've got these little middles, so I'm going to put, in fact, I'm going to use some of my mini dimensionals because I think they'll sit in the middle of these nicely. And then I'll pop those into the middle of the flower, like so. And then I've taken one of these and I've just chopped the bottom leaves off it, and I'm thinking I might slide that in here somehow. I'm not sure yet, but I've got these green leaves as well, so I might pop one of those in there flat. In fact, I know what I've also got. I've got my ephemera, my little piece of, I'm not sure how well you'll see this, gold, which I might tuck into the back here just to bring a little bit of the gold in. So I'm just going to apply a few dabs of glue on this. Just wipe the glue off my fingers and tuck this in here and stick it down. That just will bring a little bit of the gold in. Then bring my leaf back in and pick this up with my take your pick tool and tuck that down in there. Got glue all over my fingers now. So this is how it's looking so far. I've got another leaf here, don't know whether I want to put that under there to try and balance it out. Yeah, I think I will. So I'll put a little bit of glue on here. And it's just all about playing, you know, and just popping things in and seeing what you think. I might not even need to use this one. Might get a bit overcrowded with that one, but I may pop that one under here. I'm not sure. Let me just have a see if it'll go in somewhere. Take that stalk off it and maybe just pop that in so you see a little bit of the rose gold behind. So don't be afraid to, you know, rip up your die cuts once you've cut them. So I don't need that. I can save that for another card. And then I've got the bow, and I'm thinking I'll apply the bow in the top right hand corner just to kind of balance it out. So again, I'm just going to apply a little bit of glue just to the centre and pop that on the corner. And then I've got the 2021 to 2023 in colour jewels. So if I pick one of the fresh freesia and pop that in the middle of the bow, that just adds a little bit of bling. So I'll pop that with all the others. So this is how it's looking now. So this is going to stick flat on the front of the card. So again, I'll just use the wet glue, being as though I've got it out. And it just might help it stick to the base of the card better with this being an embossed piece of card. So then if I apply that fairly centrally to the front of my card, I'll just turn it over and give it a rub from the back. That's my first card. So that's the first one I did with the inked background. And then on this one, I also applied a few of the little sequins that are in the ephemera kit. So where's my take your pick tool? I could put a couple of these on, just scatter these around like so. And then on this one, I've left the background without the colour. So tell me what you think in the comments under the video, which you prefer. Do you prefer it with the inked background or completely plain? But I've used, you know, different flowers from the dies, but the same concept. So what I'm going to do now, I've got a few more to make up. I'll make a couple more and then I'll come back and I'll show you at the end all the different colours that I've used and the colour combinations, but it'll all be with more or less the same products. So all the dies from the die sets I've showed you, a little bit of the embellishments from the ephemera kit and the in colour jewels. Okay, so this is what I've got so far. So I've made 5 cards. I've still got all these bits and pieces left, and I've got all the die cuts which have come out of the middle of all the frames that I can use in another project. Some of them have got a bow on, some of them haven't, but all these ones I've just made now have all just got the plain white, no colour in the background. So I'll zoom in and I'll show you each one. So this is the first one. This is all pale papaya soft succulent with the pale papaya sponge background on the embossed background piece of card. And the little bow, it's got a little bit of a gold leaf from the ephemera pack. It's got some of the metallic speciality paper for the centres of the flowers. It's got some of the little sequins that are from the ephemera pack and one of the in colour jewels to match the cardstock. So that's the first one. This is the next one I've done. This is all in the fresh freesia. Again, I've used some of the gold from the ephemera pack, the in colour jewels and the little iridescent sequins, which are also from the ephemera pack. As I say, all these products will be listed directly under the YouTube video and also in the accompanying blog post over on my blog. So that's the next one. This one I've done again in fresh freesia, but I've added Night of Navy, and I've also used one of the gold frames from the ephemera kit, and this one's not got the bow on this time. This one, again, I've used fresh freesia, pale papaya and brought in some Night of Navy. No bow, no gold or anything on this, but I have used the in colour gems in the flowers and the little iridescent sequins. And then finally this one is the polished pink with some of the gold from the ephemera pack, the gold from the speciality paper, the little iridescent sequins and some of the in colour gems. So I will try and take close-up photographs of these and put them on the blog, but that is just to show you how you can make some beautiful cards predominantly just using dies without using the stamp set at all. So all the flowers and the bow and the leaves have all been cut, as I say, from the pierced blooms. The frames have been cut from the Stitch So Sweetly. I've got some in colour gems, some bits and pieces from the ephemera pack, and a little bit of the speciality paper thrown in for good measure. So I hope you like the video. Please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you don't already do so, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.